What is crime?
Seems like a straightforward question at first, right? But I propose to you that there is not a simple explanation for what crime is. And while crime is something that we all know about, it's not something that's very well understood.
We're all influenced by crime and exposed to it everywhere. Some of us know about crime directly or from people we know, either as a victim of crime or as a participant. Absent direct exposure, we are all impacted by crime through portrayals of crime in the media, through the costs of crime control, through crime-related jobs, police, court, and corrections, for example. And whether we know it or not, our behavior is impacted by crime. We act in ways that minimize our chances of becoming a victim of crime, such as locking our doors, avoiding what are thought to be high crime areas, changing our computer passwords, or we act in ways to avoid becoming a criminal offender ourselves, slowing down when we see a police officer or coming to a stop sign, or trying to avoid hitting someone when we're really upset with them.
So again, what is crime?
One way to define crime is any violation of the criminal law that is subject to punishment. No law, no crime. Simple enough, right? Well, let's consider this.
Should we only consider acts that violate the criminal law as it is currently written as part of our assessment of crime? If you're thinking yes, it's important to consider a few questions. What criminal law are we talking about?
What if an act is against the criminal law in one jurisdiction but not another? Laws are very different from city to city, state to state, country to country. So if an act is defined as a crime in one jurisdiction but not another, should we consider it a crime or not? Are criminal laws static? Are they set in stone? Never changing? Definitely not.
They change all the time. Just because something is not on the law books does not mean it should not or will never be considered a crime.
Bring in a new group of legislators or judges, a different interpretation of the law emerges, and the law changes. What was once considered legal can be made illegal, only to later become legal again.
And here's something else to consider. If a person commits an act that most people consider a violation of the criminal law, but the police don't make an arrest and the prosecutor declines to file charges, is it really a crime? Or if a person is charged but found not guilty, does it then not count as crime? Or does a crime that is committed but never reported still count as a crime? It's kind of akin to if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it still make a sound? Same kind of thing. It's also important to consider the purpose of the law. What is reflected in the criminal law as it is currently written? Who makes the law? Who benefits from the law?
Laws are not reflective of an equal representation of society. Those with more money, power, and strategic connections have more influence on how the law is written, and can influence lawmakers to do things like change the law to benefit them by making whatever harmful actions they may want to take perfectly legal. Or in the specific case of a legislature, make something legal for them that would be illegal if anyone else did it. Essentially, a crime for thee, but not for me. And so then, what if something is thought to be harmful to society, but is not a violation of the criminal law? Should these acts be considered crimes?
Take the example of white-collar and corporate crime.
Many of these incredibly harmful acts are dealt with under civil or regulatory law, as opposed to criminal law, even though the damages they cause are greater than acts that are clearly and consistently defined as crimes. What about something that is a violation of the criminal law, but most people tend to think that it shouldn't be? Should these acts be considered crimes? What if a few legislators decide to criminalize something that the overwhelming majority believe should be legal? Should these acts now be universally considered crimes?
With all these considerations, this idea of an objective criminal law comes into question. So then again, we come back to the question at hand. What is crime? Well, there are many definitions out there, but here's one that I like.
Crime is a violation of societal rules of behavior as interpreted and expressed by the criminal law, which reflects public opinion, traditional values, and the viewpoint of people currently holding social and political power. Individuals who violate these rules are subject to sanctions by state authority, social stigma, and loss of status.
Perhaps a little different from what you were thinking when you first started watching this video?